Why pay full retail price on leaf litter when you can go out and collect your own? Today we're going to show you how to collect and disinfect leaves for your terrariums. Leaf litter has many different functions and advantages to using in a reptile enclosure. First off, they provide shelter for smaller reptiles. They also help hold in humidity in the substrate beneath. They also provide shelter and a food source for invertebrates like isopods. It also provides enrichment, like new smells for reptiles. So there's a lot of reasons why you may want to use leaf litter in your enclosure, but you don't have to pay for it. Today, Ed and I are actually down in Florida, where there are plenty of leaves just scattered everywhere that are commonly seen available for resale for reptiles. So we're going to collect some of these leaves and disinfect them, and that way you can do it at home. Today we're going to be collecting primarily magnolia leaves and sea grape leaves. And both of these species are reptile safe, and they are very commonly seen available for reptile use. But they can be kind of expensive. So these are free, which is great, and there are many other species that you can use as well. Just make sure you look them up online to ensure that they are safe for the critters you are planning on putting them with, and make sure that you are collecting them from an area where no pesticides or herbicides or any other chemicals are being used. Once you have found, identified, and verified that the leaves you want to use are safe, like these right here are in an area where there aren't any chemicals used, so we know they're going to be okay for our critters at home, then you can start collecting the fallen leaves. I say fallen leaves because you don't want to collect or pull off the live leaves from the plants, because you don't want to damage the plants. Those are good, healthy leaves contributing to the plant's life. So we don't want to cause any damage out here. We want to keep it as sustainable as possible, and you should too. So we're collecting fallen leaves because they obviously are already off the plant, and they work just as well for the bottom of your terrariums. Kind of a pain to collect these leaves though. We could probably make this easier if we find a small child to do it for us.
Yeah,
oh,
that'll
hey,
work.
There's two. Hey, you want to grab some leaves for us? Okay, you guys are small. Can you fit in there and grab the brown leaves for me? Grab the leaves! Grab the leaves! Oh, this is so much better. There we go, put them in the bag! Awesome, good job! You have one too? Oh, he came up empty-handed. Like,
Get in there and get those leaves.
Yeah, you can. Nice one, Abby. Oh, awesome. Okay, let's get some more. Well, they're somewhat effective.
Yeah. Look, we even have Papa and his purple hair collecting leaves.
Senior citizens at work.
We found whole branches that fell.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll work.
I think those are his though. He's not handing them over. And then the little kids ran off.
And then they get distracted.
So, you know.
Okay, so it kind of works using kids. Yeah, I think you'll end up collecting most of them yourself though, because it looks like they're just gonna run off. Bonus points if you pick up trash at the same time. This is why you don't let balloons free. They land and they're terrible for wildlife.
So actually it looks like your helpers ran away. They're no longer even on the trail.
Nope, they got distracted.
Well, I think I lost everybody. I don't see anybody anymore. I think they all went back. Oh,
I got my leaves!
apparently all you have to do is jump into the bushes.
Once you've got all your leaves collected, then you drive 1,600 miles up north and bring them home for disinfecting. We're like halfway home, and how much does a bag of leaves cost? $10?
Don't ask.
How much are we spending in gas?
You don't want to know.
Also, look at this. Snow. Ugh. These leaves are gonna be so confused. They were bagged up in Florida and they're gonna come out in Minnesota or Wisconsin. Well, now you've got your leaves at home, so let's talk about how to disinfect them so they're safe for your vivariums. The first thing you'll want to do is just rinse off the leaves in plain old water in the sink. There's often dirt or spider webs on them, so it's a good idea just to give them an initial rinsing right away. After they've been rinsed off, you have a few different methods on how to disinfect them. First, you can just let them dry for a period of time, long enough for them to become kind of crispy and crunchy, and that will likely kill all of the pesky organisms on the leaf itself. However, that can take like up to 6 months, so assuming you don't have that much time on your hands, another method of disinfecting is using a 1% bleach solution, and all you have to do is soak the leaves in the 1% bleach solution, the remaining 99% being just plain water, and then let them sit for about 20 minutes. However, I try to steer clear of using chemicals on things I'm going to be putting inside a vivarium that will have like springtails or isopods or other small invertebrates because they can be so sensitive to those chemicals. So instead, we're going to focus on using heat to disinfect your leaves. The temperature you're going for to kill all of the pesky organisms on these leaves is 140 degrees Fahrenheit for about 5 minutes. That's what's going to kill chytrid fungus, which is a huge killer in amphibians particularly, and if it's going to kill chytrid, it'll kill virtually anything else you don't want on those leaves. To achieve this, you can bake the leaves, boil the leaves, or even microwave the leaves, and we're going to go through all three of those methods here. For the baking method, you simply put your leaves on a baking sheet and bake them in the oven at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 minutes. If you're baking magnolia leaves, I've found that it makes your house actually smell pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like the smell of chocolate chip cookies baking in the oven, but it's not a bad smell, so it's hard to describe, but you'll know it when you bake them. Unfortunately, baking leaves causes them to be really dry and therefore quite crispy. That can be a good thing though if you're looking for leaves that you can easily crunch up and add to your leaf litter layer and encourage the breakdown process and therefore encourage microfauna in your vivarium. But if you're looking for leaves that won't just break apart on you after the disinfection process, you might want to consider the boiling method. This is as easy as submerging those leaves into boiling water for about 5 to 10 minutes. Again, make sure that they're rinsed off beforehand so there isn't as much sand and other sediment kind of floating around in that boiling water, but the water is probably going to turn brown just from the tannins in the leaves themselves. Don't look at that! Why did you pan the camera down to where I dropped them? That's part of the disinfection process.
Throwing it on the ground.
Throwing it on the ground.
Threw it on the ground.
And I threw it on the ground! Happy birthday to the floor! And finally, the last method for using heat to disinfect leaves is to use your microwave. You're essentially going to steam your leaves by placing them in shallow water and just microwave them for about 2 to 3 minutes. Some people will also put damp paper towels underneath and on top of their leaves. Some people will put like a cover on top to really steam them, which is what we prefer to do. It also helps keep everything enclosed. So ideally use a shallow tray of water, put your leaves in it, and cover it with some sort of dome-like structure that's obviously microwave safe, and that'll help retain the heat inside during the microwaving process. If you use the microwave method, as soon as they come out, they'll be very toasty and pretty flexible, so now is the time to flatten them out while they cool off if you want them to maintain a flatter shape or whatever, but they definitely won't be as crispy as if you use the baking method. So there you have it, the 3 best ways to disinfect leaves using heat. There are some people who will collect leaves and put them directly into their terrariums because there are a lot of good organisms from wild caught or collected leaves that can benefit your enclosures, but is it worth the risk of that one negative or harmful organism getting in? That's why we recommend disinfecting them just to play it safe, and then you can, in a controlled environment, add the invertebrates that you want to be a part of that ecosystem.
Also, if anybody's wondering, magnolia leaves fold as they dry up. So if you take them and boil them and then lay them flat, you can get them to lay.
Immediately after boiling though,
Yes.
lay them out flat so they dry like this, otherwise they're all going to fold in half, we learned.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting find. Didn't know that they did that.
I didn't either.
But you can flatten them if you
Yep.
use plates and weigh them down when they're still wet. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching today's video. I hope you learned something new, especially since a lot of these leaves that are sold by larger sellers, larger companies, aren't disinfected beforehand, we recently learned. They're just collected, put in a bag, and then sold as is. So it's always a good idea to read that fine print to see if you have to disinfect them after receiving them or not. But if you do have to, now you know how. Thank you as always to our Patreon backers as well for their very generous support. And thank you to everybody watching our videos and hanging out with us. And today, we talk about leaves. Well, I'm gonna have to leave you all here because this was only about a quarter of the leaves that we collected. Here's the rest of them. I don't know how long this is gonna take, but it's gonna be a while for sure. So we'll see you in 6 hours or however long it takes to disinfect the rest of these.
Yep.
Yeah! So there's a lot of great advantages to using so there's a lot of reasons why you might need oh my gosh. So there's a lot of reasons why you may need oh my god, I cannot
litter.
say leaf litter. Yeah.
Leaf litter.
And we're also going, well,
What in the world was that? Best thing about being a cameraman right now.